Raila Odinga's march to Statehouse is unstoppable. The only thing which can stop Raila Odinga from being declared the next president of the Republic of Kenya is none other than Raila Odinga himself. He can commit a mistake, and that mistake is the only thing which can stop him from being declared the next president of the Republic of Kenya. And I'm saying so because, number one, it is going to be the first time Raila Odinga is going to enjoy the support from the larger Mount Kenya region. Raila Odinga has always contested before, 4 times. During those times, Raila Odinga has never received any support from the larger Mount Kenya region. In fact, the highest he has received is 3%. As we speak today, there's an opinion poll which was conducted by Radio Africa, which is now putting Raila Odinga to, I think, 40%. And their target was to get 30. The truth of the matter is that should Raila Odinga push that figure to 40%, he will be declared the next president in the first round. And there are several reasons why Raila Odinga's support from the larger Mount Kenya region is going to be important. If you look at the previous elections, there has always been the turnout in the larger Mount Kenya region. The fact that as we speak now, there's no credible or no serious candidate from the larger Mount Kenya region, it means most of them will not wake up, turn out to vote. In 2007, for example, they turned out to protect the presidency from leaving the House of Mumbi. In 2013, they turned out to protect President Uhuru Kenyatta from being persecuted at ICC. In 2017, they turned out to stop Raila Odinga, who was the devil. So because they don't have a credible candidate, I am certain that the turnout is not going to be the way it has been. And again, if you look at Mount Kenya region, Raila Odinga has always been receiving 3%, 2%. If we can increase that figure to 40%, then you cumulatively calculate the percentage in numbers, turn the percentage in numbers, then Raila Odinga is good to go. The other thing which has been affecting Raila Odinga in the larger Mount Kenya region is the issue of inflation of figures and deflation of figures, basically rigging. Because in most cases, Raila Odinga has never had agents. So in this case, what's going to happen is that Raila Odinga will be able, through Azimio, to have agents across the entire Mount Kenya region. So that's going to protect Raila Odinga from what he has always experienced, where his figures are normally deflated and Uhuru or Kibaki figures inflated. So this time around, the guy who might suffer this is actually William Samoei Arap Ruto. Or if not, it means the figures which are going to be announced will be the real figures. And again, this is also the first time the tycoons from the larger Mount Kenya region are coming together and uniting to support Raila Odinga. So Mount Kenya's support is going to guarantee Raila Odinga the presidency in the first round. That one I can guarantee you. The second thing which is making Raila Odinga's presidency unstoppable is what I normally term as William Ruto's costly mistakes. You see, President Uhuru Kenyatta promised William Ruto the presidency. And as a matter of fact, the president entered into handshake with Raila Odinga. If I were William Ruto, what I would have done, I would have tried, even for 6 months or 1 year, to support the president's move as you study him. But immediately that handshake took place, and you remember the president revisiting it in Sagana, the deputy president just started opposing it. Of course, he thought that, or he knew that something was going to happen. But giving the president benefit of doubt, trying to mend fences, would have been the best thing for the deputy president. So the deputy president actually committed several mistakes, and these mistakes are the reasons why he cannot be allowed anywhere near the presidency. The truth is, Uhuru Kenyatta is not going to allow William Ruto anywhere near the presidency because of the early campaigns. William Ruto embarked on early campaigns, and by doing that, he actually undermined or insubordinated his boss. Nobody would have allowed that. The other mistake he made was to try to outshine the boss. You know, the truth of the matter is that you should never attempt to outshine the boss, even if you are smarter than him. That is the least thing you should ever do. William Ruto outsmarted the president in so many ways. Number one, he wanted to prove that he has the numbers. So in parliament, he engaged the president in that war, proving that he has numbers. So he convinced so many Jubilee MPs to his side, convinced so many ODM members of parliament to his side, and he was walking around everywhere with so many members of parliament just to outshine the boss. He would go to a place, the deputy president would actually go ahead, try to articulate the policies of the government. Let's say the deputy president sharing a platform with President Uhuru Kenyatta. And instead of letting the president talk, he would talk almost on everything. Like if it's development, tumeleta hii pale, you know, we've been doing that. So by the time the president is standing to speak, he has nothing to say. I remember there was an incident in, was it 2019, when he spoke and the president had that written speech. The president did not read that written speech because the DP had actually articulated the government policies and development projects. And I remember during that time, it must have been 2019, Francis Atwoli actually warned the DP that the best thing he should do was to go back to Moi, learn some lessons from Moi, how Moi managed to maneuver around Mzee Jomo Kenyatta without trying to outshine him. I'm playing that clip. And then the deputy president also tried to be a one-man show. Everything revolved around Ruto, which in my view was not the right thing. He ought to have, like what he's currently trying to do, having Mudavadi, having Weta, having Rigathi. Previously, it was only Ruto and the crew, the cheering squad. And again, he also tried in most cases to contradict the president in so many instances. Like when the president is supporting BBI, he's opposing. When the president was talking about the Aurora and Kimorel Dam, you remember the deputy president storming that judiciary meeting and defending the Eurobond, I mean the Aurora and Kimorel, that, you know, it was only 7 billion. The president was seated there. Who would have allowed that? So I want you to listen to Francis Atwoli actually giving the deputy president the best advice, which he actually ignored.
Let me tell you, this is historical. It has not started with President Uhuru. And I was the first person to go back to your clips to advise the deputy president to have a minute with the retired president, President Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, so that Moi would have given him a lecture of 5 minutes as per how he ascended to power when he was a vice president. He's the only first vice president in the Republic of Kenya to ascend to power after the death of our founding father, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. And Moi knew, even if he was representing President Jomo Kenyatta in all AU meetings in Africa, Kenyatta used not to fly, Kenyatta used not to go out. But when he comes back, and Mzee Kenyatta is at Thingirawa Iregi Nakuru, with the former provincial police officer Mungai, the director of CID Mr. Nderi, and Mbiu Mwana wa Koinange, and Mungai, who was the foreign affairs minister, President Moi would not be allowed to go there. He stopped at the door at the first gate and he goes home. The following day, he could not complain to Kenyatta that your people chased me away. He went, he removed his pencil, he counted years of the old man and his, and then he persevered. Until when he finished his term, when his time of ascending to power came. When he was introducing him in any rally, he could hardly take 2 minutes. He says, Your Excellency, this is your meeting. I'm only 2 minutes, address your people. But you are my deputy in a public rally. You want to articulate government policies. You want to go and preside over functions of government, opening up of roads, as if you are the head of, and the head of state is there. Even mentioning the cost of road A to B will cost. Who is leading? We don't have 2 presidents. You wouldn't be happy even if you are self in that seat.
So with that, it was not going to be possible for anybody to allow Ruto near the presidency. And number 3 is the deep state. You see, there's the existence of deep state in this country. That's the honest truth. You know, even in political parties, if you go to ODM, there's a clique which controls that party. Even if you go to Catholic Church, there is a group of bishops who controls the church. Even in your village WhatsApp groups. There are people who will always dictate things. So you just go and people talk, kumbe these guys have sat somewhere and have agreed on the direction. So William Ruto ought to have accepted the fact that we have deep state. And this deep state has two people. There is those who are working for the government and those who are friends and allies of the president. So those who are working for the government, like Fred Matiang'i, like Karanja Kibicho, and all those, William Ruto made them their enemies, his enemies. So up to now, for example, if William Ruto were to win the presidency, Fred Matiang'i, Kibicho, and several others will not even report to work the next day. They will not even wait for the deputy president to be sworn in. So they'll just go home. And that's why these guys are now working extra hard to ensure that William Ruto does not become the president so that they can also continue. And they have President Uhuru Kenyatta's friends. Talk of Nancy Gitau. You remember how Oscar Sudi insulted Nancy Gitau, Kipchumba Murkomen. And this is someone President Uhuru Kenyatta is so close to. So where do you think Nancy Gitau will go if Ruto becomes the president? It's not going to be easy for Nancy Gitau to accept or to allow Ruto anywhere near the presidency. And then the DP also ignored the signals from President Uhuru Kenyatta's key men. David Murade. David Murade would always say things, then they come to pass. He would say things, would come to pass. The DP used to just insult him, belittle him. So if the DP had taken his time a bit and understood what, for example, David Murade was saying, what Atwoli was saying, and tried to maneuver his ways around them, I'm sure things would have been different. But what we are witnessing is a case now where these guys are not going to allow. Do you think Francis Atwoli and Murade can allow William Ruto to become president, that they're just happy that a decision is being made that President Uhuru Kenyatta, you see, this guy was your deputy, so we want you to work with him, to let us forget about the past, we can't trust Raila Odinga. Do you think these guys can, in that meeting, they can vote for Ruto? They cannot. And number 4 is the Super Alliance. If there's one thing which has been giving Raila Odinga, which has been giving Raila Odinga political headache, is Kalonzo and Jubilee support. In the next 2 weeks, we are going to witness Jubilee and ODM joining Azimio through a cooperation agreement. William Ruto, for a very long time, was a one-man show. And that's why Moses Kuria left, Mwangi Kiunjuri left. So, Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta are crafting a mega alliance. That super alliance is going to lock William Ruto out of this government. The idea here is, in Nairobi, for example, they are going to have those gubernatorial candidates, they are going to have MPs candidates. But the only person they are going to campaign for will be the ODM candidate. Unlike before, like in Nyanza, for example, where those who are for, say, Gombo, were viewed as enemies of Raila, this time around they are going to be viewed as friends. So that Gombo will mobilize his votes and then also mobilize his people to turn up in large numbers and vote for Raila Odinga. In Ukambani, for example, Kalonzo Musyoka will be contesting. Will be sponsoring candidates on Wiper. Then Maendeleo Chapchap will also be sponsoring candidates there. So Maendeleo Chapchap will try so hard to convince people to get out and vote for their people. At the same time, those people will definitely vote for Raila. Kalonzo will also be doing the same. So it will help in mobilizing the support. Otherwise, if Raila Odinga failed to get Kalonzo, it would have been very bad for him. And lastly, number 5, in my view, is the international networks. William Ruto is headed to the US and UK. And I'm doing an analysis on that after this. Why is William Ruto going international? When he made these attempts, there's a gentleman who was trying so hard for him, but that gentleman was subdued. Oscar Sudi and the group convinced the DP that there was no need for him to spend money on international networks. Because, for example, if you are to go to US, there's someone who will be going advance, there are people who will be nini, you'll be buying the air tickets, following up, paying for the flights. They were like, we don't need that. Kura ziko kwa wananchi. They are in the villages, so just concentrate. So William Ruto is now trying to create networks, but it's late. What about Raila Odinga? Raila Odinga has been enjoying or is enjoying the international support. And when Uhuru Kenyatta planned to make him the president, the first thing he did was to appoint him to be the High Representative for Infrastructure at the African Union. That alone has helped Raila Odinga create huge networks across the country. Raila Odinga has been attending meetings with the heads of states in Africa. He's been meeting international opinion shapers in his capacity as the head of High Representative for Africa, for infrastructure at the African Union. So those international networks, there's no way you can become the next president of the Republic of Kenya. Nowhere. You can become the next president of the Republic of Kenya without the support. Without the support of the international community. And that's why William Ruto is going to do everything possible to win the support of international community. Let me just give you a bonus. Raila Odinga's reform credentials is also going to play a huge role. In fact, if you look at Raila Odinga, sometimes last year and now, a lot of things have been changing. William Ruto had managed to penetrate the civil society. And some of this civil society had started gravitating towards him. That's when he managed to win people like David Njindi, Hassan Omar, even Willie Mutunga had started leaning towards him. But of late, these reform credential leaders have started leaning back again towards Raila Odinga. And that's why Professor Kivutha Kibwana, who had started leaning towards the DP, is now coming back. That's why if you've been watching former Chief Justice Willie Mutunga's statements of late, it's like he's now also withdrawing himself from William Ruto's Tanga Tanga movement. So basically, the reform credentials will help Raila Odinga because he can speak from a point of reforms. He can stand before people and tell people that, of course, I've never given people handout, but the devolution we are witnessing here is because of me. The 2010 constitution, which is progressive, which everybody is appreciating, is because of me. I've been jailed for 9 years for your freedom. So he can use all those. I don't know what you think, but that's my take. Thank you guys, and please, may you have a good day.